saan, kailanman di iyong malalapitan. Pag-usapan natin yan. Warm heart, warm heart, warm heart, warm heart.
Okay, magandang araw po sa ating mga tagapakinig at tagapanood dito po sa Himpilang Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Narito na naman po ang ating palatuntunang Warm Heart na nakasentro sa mental health awareness and education. Siyempre, kami pa rin po ang inyong makakasama sa programa. Ito po si Bea Gaza de Guzman.
At ako naman po si Steph Vicente.
Yan. At syempre, kami po ay inyong napapakinggan at napapanood live sa Radyo Pilipinas World Service official Facebook page at YouTube channel. At napapakinggan din po tayo sa online radio, sa audio streaming, gamit ang inyong mga Evox PBS Receiver app. Kung wala pa po kayo nito, pwede nyo po itong i-download sa Google Play Store para sa mga Android user at sa Apple Store naman po para sa mga iPhone user. At syempre, nagpapatuloy at nagbabalik ang ating pagseserbisyo sa ating mga overseas Filipino workers at seafarers sa pamamagitan po ng ating shortwave radio. So, sa pakikipagtulungan po ng Presidential Broadcast Wave Frequencies, ang English program po. Tuwing 10 a.m. hanggang 11:30 a.m. mapapakinggan sa 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz at sa 17.665 MHz. Ang Filipino program naman po ay mapapakinggan tuwing 1:30 a.m. hanggang 4:30 a.m. sa mga sumusunod na shortwave frequencies. 9.370 MHz, 9.925 MHz at 12.120 MHz. Okay, so para sa episode ngayong araw ng ating palatuntunang Warm Heart, meron tayong pag-uusapan. Naku, ito ay viral at hanggang ngayon ay pinag-uusapan pa rin ang naging viral na kwento ng isang bride-to-be na ikakasal na sana ay bigla siyang naging missing person, no? So, ang titignan po natin na kumbaga kwento o ipapaliwanag sa palatuntunan ay kung paano pong itong mga viral na kwento o istorya ay nakakaapekto doon sa mga tao na mismong involved doon sa kwento. At ito pong kumbaga pangyayari o phenomenon kung saan makukonsider na rin natin tong online bullying, pero syempre kakalkalin natin at mas palalalimin ang usapan. Kaya naman, Steph, sino ang ating makakasama sa palatuntunan ngayong araw?
At upang pag-usapan niya yung viral spectacle na pumapalibot niya dito kay missing bride-to-be na natagpuan na siya po para sa mga hindi nakakaalam na si Shera De Juan sa pamagitan ng Psychological Lens ay makakasama natin para sa episode na ito ng Warm Heart si Dr. Catherine Tan. Siya po ay isa pong psychiatrist mula sa National Center for Mental Health o NCMH. Dr. Tan, welcome po sa Warm Heart.
Hello, good morning Bea and Steph, and good morning sa ating viewers and listeners. Thank you for having me again.
Yes, maraming salamat din po. Kung hindi nyo pa po naitatanong, si Doc Catherine, kahit nung hindi pa po tayo naka-live streaming, ngayon level up na tayo. Thank you, Lord. Pero nung naka-audio pa lang po kami, si Doc Catherine po ay nagiging guest na namin. So maraming salamat po sa pagsama sa amin dito po sa Warm Heart. Thank you. We really appreciate you, Doc Catherine. So yun nga, sige, pag-usapan na natin kasi napaka-interesting po ng topic na ito. Simulan po natin sa pagpapaliwanag, Doc Catherine. Mayroon pong phenomenon daw sa social media kung saan gumagawa po ang mga netizen ng mga meme o komentaryo hinggil sa issue pero hindi nila nasasabi ito ng personal. Kumbaga mas nagiging matapang silang magsabi ng hindi maganda pag online. Pero kapag kaharap yung tao, medyo meron pa tayong restraint o pag-filter na tinatawag. Itong phenomenon daw po na ito ay meron silang ipinangalan, online disinhibition effect. Doc Catherine, pwede niyo po bang ipaliwanag sa amin from your perspective as a professional expert po sa psikolohiya kung bakit mayroon pong disinhibition effect, online disinhibition effect, at totoo po bang nakakabawas sa moral sensitivity ng mga tao yung anonymity or parang hindi naman ka ikaw masyadong kilala pag online, so okay lang na ikaw ay magkalat, yung parang ganoon, Doc?
Yeah, actually, Bea, you essentially gave yung pinaka gist ng online disinhibition effect. So, kasi tayo, pag directly nagko-communicate tayo sa mga tao, nakikita natin kung like anong itsura niya, anong facial expression niya, it's a factor lalo na sa Filipinos kung older or younger yung tao
Mm-mm.
or yung mag-gauge ninyo na parang may pinagdadaanan kaya siya. So may restraint na tayo na okay, we have to have a certain level of poise and respectfulness. Tapos lalong-lalo na that person is looking straight at you.
Mm-mm.
So may sense of na-identify sino ka. And then there's also that sense of accountability.
Mm-mm.
Pero it's different naman online. Kasi pag nagko-communicate tayo online, you may not necessarily see the person.
Okay.
May certain distance pa siya.
Mhm.
There are tendencies na pwede rin natin i-objectify yung person. Tapos, the context of yung mga pangyayari is very limited. And then,
Okay.
lalo na, you see yung mga surroundings mo, nagko-comment din. So, medyo nababawasan yung the restraint, the empathy,
Mhm.
and then also that sense of accountability na kung sasabihin ko to, i-identify na galing to sa akin. And then naengganyo ako kasi everyone else is doing it. Kaya nagkakaroon tayo ng that extra harshness or extra insensitivity pag tayo ay nagko-comment sa online.
Okay, so gayon nga. Yun nga, pero parang medyo
So easy to treat the other person as an object already. Pero we also have to remember these people, may pinagdaanan sila, they have their own problems like we have our own problems. And then we also have to remember then, di ba, golden rule, do unto others what you want to do unto yourself. So, nakakalimutan natin na, halimbawa, it's you na being talked about, nagkakaroon ng mga memes, tapos it's going around how it would affect you. And then not just you, yung family natin. So, minsan nakakalimutan natin yon pag nagpo-post tayo sa social media.
Ito naman po, Doc, dahil grupo-grupo ang pagko-comment sa mga issue sa social media, parang hindi pansin ang individual, lalo na kapag maingay nga yung usapin tulad na lamang nitong missing bride-to-be. Bakit po nawawala yung personal sense of responsibility ng isang social media user kapag nakikibahagi ito sa viral scandal sa anyo po ng negative comments?
Yeah. Well, Bea, kasi tayo, pag nagko-comment tayo, or not even comment kahit nasa surroundings tayo, pag nakikita natin a lot of people are doing it, mas lalo tayo naengganyo. Yung parang nagiging excuse natin, if everyone is doing it, di gagawin ko. Yung traffic pa lang natin, nakikita natin kung halimbawa papasok sa isang lane na hindi dapat pasukan, di ba? May pumapasok, sumusunod na kasi pwede rin na, sige, giving the benefit of the doubt din naman. Kasi baka akala din nila na it's okay without realizing yung mga pinaka-consequences na pwede mangyari. Pero aside from that din, nakakaengganyo din. Kasi pag nagpo-post tayo online, parang there's a sense of power. There's a sense of being seen, being important. Na parang, my opinion matters. Kaysa pag halimbawa I am an a regular person in this world na parang sige magko-comment ako pero in person it doesn't have the same effect as pag tayo ay nasa online. So because nga yung mga restraints and the barriers tapos yung nga nakakaengganyo, everyone else is commenting, and then you also are surrounded by people who probably have similar views sa inyo, or nakakaengganyo din to say something different. Parang oh, I'm gonna stand out sa mga comments nito. So it can be very enticing, lalo na tayo mga Pinoy, 'di ba? Parang pinakamalakas na social media users tayo sa buong mundo So we like sharing yung opinion natin, Bea.
Yun. Kasi yun nga, nakakaengganyo dahil ginagawa ng ibang tao. Pag tayo ay nakakapagsabi ng mga bagay-bagay, kahit na negatibo, feeling natin powerful tayo, seen tayo, feeling natin importante tayo, may ambag tayo sa mga sinasabi, kahit na minsan yung ambag natin medyo may consequence. Doc Catherine, ito po, ang mga ganitong komentaryo po nakatutulong sa nakakatulong po ba sa paglutas ng usapin? Kasi sabi nyo, we feel important, we feel seen. Pero yun nga, ang tanong natin, nakakatulong po ba sa paglutas itong mga ganitong pakikilahok sa mga usapin? O ginagamit lang ito para sa self-promotion na tinatawag?
Well, it could be na nagba-viral. Pero pwede rin na, yun nga, parang magre-react lang tayo sa sitwasyon. So, it can actually be both. Pero, we also recognize. So, if it's something that is personal, pero everyone talks about it, everyone clicks on it, everyone has their opinion on it. So, whoever that person is, yun nga, that the groom, the runaway bride, it's very devastating for them, and then also for the family then whoever is associated with them. So yun ang nakakalimutan natin pag nag-click na tayo and then we say something degrading, negative, having our opinion that can be destructive sa ibang tao. So sana din na when we post, we recognize it's a public space. It's something that will stay permanently unless you delete it. But then there's still traces of that, and then people probably viewed it already. So that effect actually has a big effect around nga. Kaya mag-ingat-ingat din tayo.
Ito naman po, Doc, ano po ang pagkakaiba ng traditional bullying sa digital bullying pagdating sa epekto nito sa psikolohiya o mentalidad ng isang tao, lalo na ang biktima ng bullying? Paano po nakakaapekto sa recovery at healing ng taong biktima ng digital bullying ang pagka-permanente at global o enduring and wide visibility ng digital shaming?
I'm sorry about that. I'm not able to hear what did you ask something?
Yes, si
po.
Steph po nagtatanong,
Yes
Doc.
po. Ayan. Ulitin ko lang po, Doc. Ano po yung pagkakaiba ng traditional bullying sa digital bullying pagdating sa epekto nito sa psikolohiya o mentalidad ng isang tao, lalo na ang biktima po ng bullying?
For some reason, sensya na, for some reason, scattered yung naririnig ko on my end.
Okay, hold on. Ako na lang po ang magtanong kay Doc.
There,
Sige po.
there.
Doc, yun, tinatanong po kasi ni Steph, nabanggit nyo kanina na ang pagko-comment sa online or sa digital media ay meron po siyang kumbaga characteristic ng pagiging permanent at global, no? Parang everyone can see it wherever you are in the world. So, ang tanong po is, paano po nakakaapekto sa recovery at healing ng taong biktima ng digital bullying yung pagka-permanente o global nitong digital shaming? Kagaya po nung yung first case natin na kay missing bride-to-be na nahanap na.
Yeah. So thank you for that question, Steph. Pero yeah, being something that is permanent online in a public space that everyone can read, everyone has access to, and everyone can back read as well. And then even your like this descendants can like, hey, did you know grandma went through this and then it was online? Oh, let's check it
Mm-mm.
out. So the records are there. So imagine, pwede rin na 2 generations to come, pwede tong pag-usapan. So it is very difficult to heal, very
Mm-mm.
definitely even more difficult to recover as opposed to, I'm not saying na this is a good thing,
Mhm.
but as opposed to yung bullying in person, at
Mm-mm.
least at that certain period of time siya, it's not like recorded that you can go back to. It's not a permanent record that is publicly accessible. Pero itong online, it's like it's a permanent record already. So definitely yung sa process of healing and also syempre it reached so many people compared to kung direct bullying siya. So definitely the process of healing would be more challenging,
Mm-mm.
more it would take a very long time. Pero and the consequences would probably not necessarily be, we're not talking about just this generation, pero pwede to the next generations to come.
Totoo po yan. Kasi lalo na po dito sa ating, kumbaga, case in point, naging viral yung story nila. And syempre, hindi naman po doon nagtatapos yung kwento nila. Actually nga, it's about a wedding, no? And building a life, building a family. And wala lang, i-expound ko lang ang imagination na paano kapag nagkaanak na sila, tapos nakita ng anak nila yung story, di ba? How would the child feel, no? Yung parang mga ganoong bang isipin natin, hindi lang yung present moment na napag-uusapan yung kwento, no? So, mahirap mahirap din. Actually, yung mga ganitong pangyayari, dati nai-experience lang siya ng mga prominent na tao or kriminal. Ang naaalala ko dyan ay yung sino na ba tong sikat na narco si Pablo Escobar, 'di ba? May mga anak siya nung tumanda na sila, parang dinidisown nila yung tatay nila. And
Yeah.
at that time, hindi pa ganito yung online. Pero ngayon, hindi na lang mga Pablo Escobar na may anak yung nakararanas ng tatay nila. In this case naman, hindi naman siya about something that yung mga subjects ay nagawa. Pero kasi parang the same principle din yun na mayroong hiya, merong parang ayaw sana natin na dumating siya sa ganon pero na-force siya dahil pinag-uusapan. So parang ayun, on the part of yung victim ng digital shaming, medyo yun nga sabi ni Doc Catherine, nakaka-challenge siyang mag-heal, lalo na at saksi ang buong tao doon sa personal life mo na gusto mo sana na hindi siya umabot sa ganoon kalawak ang nakakaalam. In relation to that, Doc Catherine, sa psychological perspective po, paano po kaya pinoproseso ng isang taong nakararanas ng emotional turmoil, yung pambubuli ng mga netizen? In this case po kasi ay yun nga, si bride-to-be na actually pinangalanan pa nga siyang Runaway Bride, no? Parang yung title na ganon. Although di naman natin alam, iniisip niya, i-consider na rin natin yung fact na siguro on your perspective din, Doc Catherine, yung mga wedding jitters, yung mga ganun, meron silang mga iba't ibang teorya kung bakit nangyari to eh. So, yun, main question, Doc Catherine, how would itong nakararanas ng emotional turmoil ay pinoproseso yung ganitong digital na pambubuli?
Well, yung sa mga ganitong bagay. So, napaka-intense, seryoso, yung mga pinagdadaanan ng mga taong ito. So, considering nga, imagine the anxiety, the conflict that this bride-to-be was experiencing already, resulting to she didn't show up to her own wedding. Tapos, dinagdagan pa na naging public yung story. And people start judging like all of them na whatever it is, not fully understanding, not giving the benefit of the doubt of this person. I would say that is so damaging sa self-esteem natin. One of the things that we can do psychological first aid.
Okay.
So pero this is very challenging kasi yun nga, yung primary principle with psychological first aid is to ensure the person that you are safe.
Okay.
Pero yun nga, that's challenging kasi how can you be safe if you're in a public domain, which is the internet nga. So perhaps, we would have to limit yung internet access niya. Pero
Okay.
again, it's very difficult kasi lalabas din sa news. Tapos, people talk about it. So, baka kapitbahay, it's like, oh, kapitbahay namin yan, and stuff like that. So, imagine the stress this person is going through. And then, we would, aside from psychological first aid, ensuring that the victim is in a safe place, has no access to mga triggering material that can exacerbate or worsen yung symptoms niya. We would also want to assess whether do we fall in the category of experiencing a psychiatric diagnosis already that would warrant psychiatric management.
Okay.
So I would explore perhaps symptoms of adjustment disorder, which is basically anxiety and depressive symptoms associated with a very stressful event. I would also explore the possibility of maybe symptoms of anxiety or depressive, major depressive disorder. I would check whether there is a danger for self-harm.
Okay.
Very important din yun. Kasi yun nga, matindi yung pinagdadaanan niya. Baka umabot na tayo sa hopelessness already eh. Titingnan ko din, sino yung mga support ng victim din natin. Kasi we also have to plan out ano yung mga pinaka-management natin. So, yes, we have options for medications if the condition warrants it. Yes, psychotherapy would definitely be very, very helpful. And then malaking bagay kasi yung support ng loved ones para sa victim din natin. And then aside from that, we also see other factors that can be protective for the victim then. So yung spirituality niya, which doesn't mean religion, mind you.
Okay.
Spirituality, maybe, sige, some people do practice religion or have a specific type of faith. They draw strength from that. Some people draw spirituality from their own personal beliefs or from multiple beliefs from multiple religions. So, being religious does not equate to spirituality kasi nakaka-frustrate when I would hear comments na, halimbawa, the person is already going through a mental health condition, ang sagot, just pray more. That is so frustrating. That is so, actually, minimize yung pinaka-problema kasi if you knew ano yung pinagdadaanan ng mga symptoms nila na umaabot na pumupunta sa psychiatrist already, I don't think you will dismiss it kasi sobrang tindi yung mga pinagdadaanan nila. So if you can only imagine. Kaya sana tayo din na let's exercise then empathy and care and accountability then na yung mga ginagawa natin online, it actually takes a toll on other people. Another thing that I would check then the possibility of, kasi what if the situation actually causes mga death threats eh? So I
Oo
will
nga,
also
no?
check for the possibility of post-traumatic stress disorder.
Mm-mm.
Kasi the major criteria for that when we diagnose yung mga post-traumatic stress disorder is at least one life-threatening event. And
Mm-mm.
definitely if somebody says very harsh
Mm.
sana ka sa I will go to your home. I know where you live and I'm gonna you.
Mm-mm.
So, yeah, that is so distressing na yeah, you are causing psychological harm. And ito, Bea, ha,
Mhm.
we know when it comes to abuse, there are studies showing actually verbal psychological abuse actually uh, can affect us even more than physical abuse. Kaya ingat-ingat din tayo sa pagpo-post.
Mm. Speaking of, ang dami pong dapat i-check sa ganitoong konteksto, adjustment disorder, anxiety, major depressive disorder, and even trigger warning, self-harm, at saka yung PTSD, kung meron po talagang mga ganitong pangyayari na nakakapag-cause nun. In regards to this, Steph, may katanungan ka kay Doc?
Mm. Doc, naririnig na po ako?
Yes,
Ayun,
yes.
better.
Okay.
Ayun. So, matanong ko lamang po, Doc, paano po nakalilikha ng trust issues o social exclusion ang ganitong viral spectacle para sa individual at maging sa kanilang pamilya?
So Steph, we can see din naman na parang kasi we have that notion na the internet is a safe space. We
Mm.
think it's so safe, we actually give tablets to children. We
Oo.
give internet to children. Pero I would say, compare the internet into going out into the world. So, tanong ko sa inyo, if you do, if you have children, would you just let them step out of the gate and go anywhere? Like literally anywhere. Of course, we're not gonna do that, di ba? So, literally, yung internet is like allowing them to go anywhere.
Mm.
Anybody out there has access to them. So, that's how dangerous the internet is.
Mm.
So una, we thought that, oh, it's just, an electronic device. I am in my home and I'm just commenting until the day comes when people start bashing you. And then perhaps pa nga na the day comes na parang you would lose faith on yung humanity na parang they can be this dark and this harsh pala. Especially when they don't think about your welfare and they totally don't care about you when they objectify you.
Mm.
So from that that illusion of safety, and then to the extremes now we are the target of hatred online, so that's worldwide. It's like, yeah, it wouldn't be surprising that you would develop distrust with interacting with people, interacting with the internet, interacting with anything.
Mm. Doc Catherine, ito naman po, bakit po kaya yung publiko, ang iniisip nila sa private individual na merong viral story ay kumbaga commodity siya for digital consumption at parang na-overpower nito yung basic na basic yung good manners and right conduct na yung bang itrato mo yung ibang tao, sabi nyo nga golden rule, gawin mo sa kapwa mo ang gusto mong gawin sa'yo. So kung pakiramdam mo nakaka-harm ka, gusto mo rin bang i-harm ka? So parang ganon yung instead of i-view itong viral story as yung bang pagte-treat sana dito sa taong topic na ito ay isang taong may dignity. Hindi ganon po yung pananaw minsan ng mga social media user or netizen. Actually, they see it as commodity for digital consumption. Bakit po ganito, Doc?
Well, there could be several factors contributing to it. Pero the pinaka-basic would be, what ano ang tinuro ng family, ng parents natin.
Mm.
So, pinaka-basic yon. And it's not about turo na yung parent tells you, ha? The
Okay.
parent also sets an example.
Okay.
Kasi nakaka-turn off na halimbawa the parent goes na, it's like, pray and go to church, pero they're doing awful things.
Mm.
Diba? So, mas nakaka-turn off pa, diba? So, it's a matter of, ano yung mga principles within the family na na-exemplify, na-set ng example at a daily basis ng parents and ina-follow din wholeheartedly ng mga anak nila. So, and then another thing then is, syempre, ano yung exposure din natin when it comes to outside na
Okay.
nakaka-influence din sa atin. So, if there is inadequate relationship, security, yung togetherness within the family, tendency ng tao is to look for it elsewhere. So, when we look for it elsewhere, ano naman yung nare-receive na influence na behavior na igagaya din niya, na nakikita niya sa environment din niya. And then, yung environment din, malaking factor din na everyone has a gadget. So kung dati, Bea and Steph, di ba, pag tinanong ang bata, what do you want to be when you grow up? Astronaut. Ngayon, what do you want to be when you grow up? Influencer.
Ayun.
So it's totally different now, yeah. So, and the challenging part is, as an influencer, you tend to attract yung attention to yourself. So there's a little bit of a sense of narcissism there.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily mean it's a diagnosis, ha? It doesn't necessarily mean na it's narcissistic personality disorder kasi lahat naman tayo may sense of narcissism kasi kailangan naman natin na we have to think of ourselves din naman. And there's a point na at a certain level, there's nothing wrong with that then. You have to prioritize yourself.
Mm-mm.
Pero, there are also times then na perhaps we lack the understanding, we lack the experience, we lack the, the emotional quotient to put ourselves in the shoes of other people.
Mm.
So, we would prioritize na, okay, this is for content, and then, for me naman, I'm not doing anything wrong kasi may freedom of speech naman eh. And nag-e-emphasize din naman ako in my opinion. Pero yun nga, hindi natin na-realize na if that person, and probably that person na pinag-uusapan will see your channel and you're saying something that can be not, yung parang hindi siya binigyan the benefit of the doubt, that can be very emotionally damaging for that person. Kasi baka that person na nag-post sa social media, baka iniisip niya na gusto ko makita ng pamasa, pero nakakalimutan natin na that one person who would be greatly affected can also be watching you then. So, it's a matter of practicing, exercising that emotional quotient, that accountability na we have to be responsible din sa mga pinagpo-post natin. Even pinag-record natin sa cellphone natin, ha? Kasi we know a lot of times nagsasend ng mga sensitive pictures, sensitive videos, and that can easily get into the internet. So, we have to treat yung gadget natin with utmost security, and we have to respect the tool. So, kung sinasabi nga na, di ba, if we're using a gun, we respect the weapon, we respect the gun. Perhaps now we have to consider it's something in our pocket, it's something that we communicate with other people, pero we know information is power now. Perhaps we have to increase our respect when it comes to using yung gadgets din natin.
Ayun. Very true, no? Very well said.
Mm-mm. Doc, sa kultura naman ng mga Pinoy na mahilig magkomentaryo, ano po ba ang psychological barriers sa pananahimik at paano po tayo makalilikha ng kolektibong pangunawa, pagkahabag o compassion sa halip na nakikiusyoso o maging usisero lamang?
Well, Steph, so, yung mga Pinoy, it's either magko-comment or mananahimik nga. Pero, when you don't react, it's also a decision. Pero, it may not be a bad decision din. Kasi example lang ha. Example, something goes viral and it's something you deeply do not agree with. Yun nga, kung you relate to etong story na to, the best way actually, to deal with it is not to click on it Because once you click on it, you spread it. 'Di ba? So, anything viral, and then if you're not interested, you don't believe in it naman, and then you know the consequences of just clicking on it, then you don't have to click on it. Pero may mga instances din naman na, we are there, something is happening, your reaction counts for yung outcome ng happening na yan. Pero a lot of yung mga Filipinos din parang nananahimik lang nga, nasa bystander lang siya. The problem is pag nananahimik din tayo and we know pag nag-voice out naman tayo, it creates a ripple effect din. That decision of keeping quiet is a decision.
Okay.
So example lang, halimbawa, corruption. And then people are speaking out for it. And then tayo nananahimik lang tayo. That's a decision. A decision to keep quiet about it.
Okay.
So we have to see the context na ano ang outcome ng reaction natin, yung action or inaction natin. So, if we say something, ano yung outcome niya with that situation? Or, if we don't say anything, we don't even click on it, ano yung outcome din niya? So, I would say na it has actually different perspectives So, it's like a mental exercise din sa ating mga viewers and listeners. Kasi there is no absolute good or bad. There's always different perspectives to everything. There's different sides to everything. And it's a matter of knowledge, understanding what is around in the world. So, halimbawa, you're the type of person who tends to click on mga viral posts. Yung kinalabasan, yung algorithm mo, it's gonna keep feeding you all these viral posts, di ba? So, even those little actions actually has consequences. Kaya, a lot of times hindi natin nare-realize, pero mag-ingat-ingat din tayo. I have to add din pala in terms of information and speaking of algorithm. So, yung internet nga natin, yung gadgets natin, is somehow self-affirming.
Okay.
So, if you have particular beliefs, and yun ang hinahanap ninyo, that's what the algorithm will feed you. The problem is very one-sided kasi self-affirming nga yung algorithm. One-sided yung makikita mo. You're not seeing the other perspective. So, your opinion is probably very, very biased to your beliefs. Tapos, pinipate ka pa ng extra information that you may find as absolute truth. So, yung isang kailangan din natin i-practice ay, as much as possible, how about we also would like to learn ano yung perspective ng ibang side? Kasi like we pointed out, diba, there is a right to free speech naman din. Pero sana we respectfully convey yung opinion natin kaysa na we say na, oh, you have to listen to me kasi ito yung alam ko.
Mm-mm.
So mag-ingat-ingat din tayo with the information that we're sharing out there and the information that we are absorbing.
Mm-mm. Ayun, napakaganda na ideya. Parang depende sa usapin, ang pinakamahalagang tanong ay ano ang magiging consequence ng pananahimik mo o pagre-react mo. So if it's about corruption, if you stay silent, parang inaano mo lang, in-encourage mo lang yung corruption. But if it's about digital shaming, walang empathy or compassion yon. So, yun, depende sa usapin, ang pinakamahalagang tanong, ano ang magiging consequence ng iyong action, no? At yung sinasabi ni Doc Catherine na ang gadget ay self-affirming. Kung meron kang mga paboritong topics, ay yun lang talagang ipapakita sa'yo. Parang confirmation bias ito, no? So, kung gusto
Yes.
mong lumawak ang iyong pananaw sa buhay, you have to intentionally and deliberately seek other perspectives. So, yun. And ito last na lang po, Doc Catherine, kasi we're running out of material time. Nag-enjoy kami ni Steph sa inyong mga pagpapaliwanag. Ang inyong parting message o final message po sa ating mga tagapakinig, tagapanood dito sa Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
So sa ating mga viewers and listeners so very entertaining nga yung gadget, nakakatuwa na we have everything at the palm of our hand already. We can communicate, it's like a supercomputer, we get all this information. Pero itong information na napakadami, kailangan responsible din tayo sa pagsusuri na discerning na itong information ba ay useful or hindi.
Mm-mm.
And then malaki din yung responsibility natin on how we would react towards certain situations, certain people, certain events. So sana tayo kahit we are facing the gadget or commenting anonymously, we have to still practice accountability. So practice empathy na kahit nagtatype tayo sa cellphone natin, pero may kinakausap tayong tao. Be respectful, be mindful, and be encompassing in a sense that we would like to be open to information. At the same time, we would like to be calm about receiving information that we may not accept. And sana din na overall treat the gadget, treat the internet with respect, with care. Hindi siya plaything, and hindi siya basta-basta na magre-react lang tayo.
Ayun, so responsible use of the internet. Maraming salamat po, Doc Catherine, sa inyo pong mga insights na ibinahagi. Sa inyo pong oras, kahit Sunday po ay kami po ay inyong pinaunlakan. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay po kayo. Thank you.
Most welcome, Beth, Bea, and Steph. Thank you for having me.
So, ulitin po. Yan po si Doc Catherine Tan, isang psychiatrist, at siya po ay ating nakapanayam tungkol dito po sa pag-analyze ng mga viral stories, ano po ang kanyang epekto sa ating mentalidad at well-being, paano po tayo makalilikha ng isang mas respectful, mas compassionate at mas may empathy na internet community. Okay, magbabalik po ang palatuntunang Warm Heart makalipas ang ilang paalala.
Mabilis ang trivia, dagdag talino. Heto na ang Dagling Kaalaman.
Alam nyo ba na tuwing ikalawang linggo ng Oktubre, ipinagdiriwang natin ang National Mental Health Week? Diniklara ito sa bisa ng proklamasyon bilang 452 noong 1994. Upang palawakin ang kamalayan tungkol sa kahalagahan ng mental health. Mahalaga ito dahil, tulad ng ating pisikal na kalusugan, kailangan ding alagaan ang ating isip at damdamin. Kaya ngayong Oktubre, maglaan ng oras para kumustahin ang sarili at ang mga mahal sa buhay. Tandaan, ang malusog na pag-iisip ay pundasyon ng mas masayang buhay.
Kaunting kaalaman na malaking dagdag talino. Abangan muli ang susunod na Dagling Kaalaman.
Warm Heart.
Warm Heart.
Warm Heart. Palawakin ang kaalaman sa mental health. Alamin ang ilang mga self-help tips at makinig sa mga kwento ng paghilom. Dito yan sa Warm Heart.
Warm Heart.
Nagbabalik po ang palatuntunang Warm Heart. Kasama niyo pa rin kami sa programa. Ito po si Bea Gaza de Guzman.
At ito naman po si Steph Vicente.
Yan, syempre napapakinggan niyo po kami live sa ating Radyo Pilipinas World Service official Facebook page at YouTube channel, maging sa Evox PBS Receiver app at sa ating shortwave radio, ating po mga shortwave frequencies para sa English program, 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz at 17.665 MHz. Ang Filipino program naman po sa 9.370 MHz, 9.925 MHz at 12.120 MHz. Ayan, narito na tayo sa ating mga public service announcement na ihahatid sa atin ni Steph Vicente.
Ayun, so mula sa Philippine Children's Medical Center Adolescent Medicine Division, meron po silang tinatawag na HEADS Workshop. Ika-12 edisyon na po ito na gaganapin sa February 27, 2026 kung saan ay dito matututo po tayo ng gender-neutral approaches para masuportahan ang ating mga teens, yung mga teenager dyan, no? Sa pamagitan ng ika-12 HEADS Workshop ay matututo po tayong lahat, no, na kilalanin o matukoy yung resilience sa mga teens natin, most especially dun sa mga kasama po, no, sa LGBTQIA+ community. Pangalawa, makabuo ng family support, no, na very inclusive kasi nga ang pinag-uusapan nga natin dito ay ang ating mga kapatid, no, sa LGBTQIA+ sector, no. Kaya naman very important, no, na magkaroon sila ng talagang masasabi na support system, at pangatlo ay makagamit ng collaborative communication sa paglulutas ng mga suliranin patungkol sa mga concerns ng ating mga teenagers dyan. So, ang registration po ay open hanggang February 14, 2026, Valentine's Day pa talaga, no, tinapat yung deadline, no. At bukod dun sa learnings, syempre para sa ating mga professionals dyan, ay very important kasi sa kanila yung mga tinatawag na CPD units. So, ano ba yung mga nakapaloob na CPD units dito? Syempre dun sa mga physician, no, 7 physician PRC units. Sa mga guidance counselor naman, meron namang 6 guidance counselor PRC units. Sa mga psychologists, may 6 rin na psychologist PRC units. Sa mga teachers naman natin dyan, merong 4 na professional teacher PRC units at meron ding 5 PPS units. So, depende sa inyong profesyon kung ilang units, no, yung inyong makukuha. And of course, syempre, bukod nga, sabi ko nga kanina, bukod sa learnings na may apply sa trabaho, syempre importante din na medyo paangatin natin ang ating mga resume, no? Kaya merong mga units na ganyan. So, saan ba gaganapin? Gaganapin ito sa PCMC 3rd floor multipurpose hall. Ayan, February 27, 2026 mula alas 8 ng umaga hanggang alas 5 ng hapon. Ayan. So, meron yan, no, na mode of payment din, no, for the registration. So, tingnan nyo lamang yung kanilang poster, yung mismong mga postings nila para malaman nyo kung details kung paano ba magbabayad. And of course, nandyan din yung link kung paano makaka-register. Samantala, sa ikalawa naman nating public service announcement ay galing to, no, sa Wandering Psychologist. Gusto nyo raw ba na matuto, no, ng counseling, no, the same way na matututo kayo ng basketball sa pamagitan ng pagbabasa ng libro. Talaga may pagganon sila, no? Pwede naman daw kasing maintindihan yung mga rules, pwede nyo naman kabisaduhin yung inyong mga plays, at pwede nyong ipaliwanag yung mga teorya. Ayan. Pero syempre, sabi nga nila, no, pag nandiyan ka na kasi, ay may mga hesitation, Parang, when you, kumbaga yung crossing the bridge when you get there, no? Pag nandun ka na sa eksena, syempre, hindi mo alam kung ano yung mangyayari mismo. At ganun din pagdating sa counseling. Pag nakaharap na sa'yo yung kliyente mo, syempre case-to-case basis yan. Hindi mo naman pwedeng kabisaduhin, no, yung isasagot mo. Kasi syempre dapat akma dun sa pangailangan ng inyong clients. So, meron, no, na pangunahan itong Wandering Psychologist na Solution-Focused Counseling Live Skills Demonstration Webinar. Sa darating po yan na January 17, 2026, araw po yan ng Sabado, mula alas 9 ng umaga hanggang alas 12 ng tanghali. Ayan, 3 hours po yan na live at may 7-day replay. Siguro para doon sa mga hindi makakaabot, no? Syempre, may mga hindi available, kaya merong replays. Ayan, limited slots only. Meron ding certificates para siguro sa mga professionals natin dyan, no? At hindi lang about, no, sa mas maraming konsepto itong webinar na ito. Ito ay patungkol nga sa solution-focused counseling na nangyayari in real time. Ayan, volunteer participants ay will act, no, as the client at ide-demonstrate ni Wandering Psychologist, no, kung paano mag-open ng isang solution-focused session, paano mag-shift from problem talk to solution talk, kasi hindi naman pwedeng puro problema lang ang pag-uusapan, di ba, sa counseling. Dapat meron ding solusyon. At paano sasabihin, ano ba ang dapat sabihin kapag ka itong kliyente sasabihin nila na hindi ko po alam, no, yung solusyon. Meron din na pagtuturo kung paano magagamit ang scaling and miracle questions naturally. Kasi hindi naman pwedeng, syempre dapat maramdaman din ni client, no, na very natural ang mga sagot, no. Hindi naman pwedeng parang beauty pageant ito, no, na pwedeng kabisaduhin yung mga sagutan natin. Hindi ganun yon, tulad ng ating nabanggit, case-to-case basis yan. At paano maisasara yung mga session with client autonomy in mind. So, yan, makakarinig kayo ng mga totoong tanong, makikita nyo yung proper pacing, at syempre, maintindihan ng lahat, no, ng sasali sa webinar na ito yung thinking behind the responses. So, mahalaga yan, no, sa mga nagsasagawa ng counseling. Of course, meron pong professional rate na 999 pesos. Slots are limited dahil nga live demonstration ito at live din yung interaction. Kaya, para doon sa mga gustong mag-participate ay mag-message lamang, no, sa Wandering Psychologist Facebook page para makapag-register, no. Ang ganda nung ano, kasi step by step ito. Pangatlo, no, sa pangatlo nating PSA, mula naman sa Learning and Development by Mr. HR, no. Pwede na mag-register para din sa Human Resources for Non-HR Practitioner Seminar. Gaganapin din yan sa January 17, 2026. Araw po yan, Sabado, mula alas 9 ng umaga hanggang alas 5 ng hapon sa The Biz Hub, 1204 Tech Tight West Tower, Ortigas Center, Pasig City. So, ano ba ang content nito? Syempre, may introduction tayo dyan ng human, kumbaga essentials ng human resources. Mapag-uusapan din dyan yung facets of human resources. Nakapaloob dyan yung organizational structure and job design. So, sino ba ang pwedeng mag-join nito? Ito ay dinisenyo for business owners, managers, supervisors, and leaders, at mga individual na syempre gusto nilang mag-level up, no, sa kanilang karera. Pero ang mahalaga kasi dito ay dahil pinapractice, nakapaloob dito yung labor relations, which is mahalaga sa isang workplace, no, para masiguro din na may safe space at maayos din yung mental well-being ng ating mga empleyado dyan. So, para malaman, makakuha ng more details patungkol sa seminar na ito, ay bumisita lamang, no, sa Facebook page ng Learning and Development by Mr. HR. At para sa panghuli nating PSA, galing naman to sa Positive Workplaces. Sabi nga, New Year, same pressures, but what if 2026 felt lighter? Ayan, sabi nga nila ay syempre, after ng 2025, kung saan nagna-navigate na naman tayo ng constant change, heavy workloads and moments, kumbaga, kung kailan no na hindi talaga maiwasan yung burnout, no? Syempre ay dapat ay nagsisimula ang bagong taon na very refreshed ang ating mga kaisipan, no? At hindi lamang mga empleyado ang nagke-carry nitong burden na to, kundi maging yung mga leaders natin, no? So, para sa una nilang webinar series for 2026 ng Positive Workplaces, meron silang webinar nga na tinatawag na Leading the Self, Building Skills to Strengthen Personal Mastery, na dinesign para matulungan tayong mag-pause, ma-refill yung ating cup at ma-build yung habits and mindsets na kumbaga ay magiging, kumbaga gagawin ito na ang leadership ay sustainable, hindi draining. So, meron lamang nito limited slots only, no? Kasi ang Zoom room nila ay may limit din na 1,000 attendees, no? Napaka lawak din, no? Kasi 1,000 attendees ang kayang i-carry ng Zoom webinar na ito, no? At gaganapin ito sa January 14. Ayan, malapit na pala, no? 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. At meron ding session for January 21, 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Ang speaker po for January 14 ay si Sir Adrian Pugate, at sa January 21 naman ay si Ma'am Jeraiza Manansala. So, ayan ang ating mga PSAs para sa araw na ito.
Maraming salamat, Steph, sa ating mga public service announcements. Sige, nako, wala na po tayong oras. Magpapasalamat muna tayo sa ating mga nakasama sa produksyon, kay Sir Leo Magpayo na ating kasama sa production pero master control na rin, and kay Justin Osia sa ating Wirecast. Muli, ito po si Bea Gaza de Guzman.
At ito naman po si Steph Vicente. At ito po ang Warm Heart.
Warm heart. Warm heart. Warm heart. Warm heart. Kabalikan o kaibigan, maaasahan.